Hello, my name is Cassandra, and I am a social media educator. I'm currently developing educational systems around the internet, and today I want to talk about depth and width of your social media content. Currently, at this time, we have width as a primary source of desire for most people who are on the internet, because they think with width they create value in themselves, and it's a validation system for them to be a certain way or be viewed as a certain way, with of course a money ticket attached. However, in the grand scheme of things of life, if you have common sense, you know that is not why we're here on this planet. That is not why social media exists. Social media does not exist to create a brand, to mind manipulate masses because you have fake boobs, a fancy outfit, nice hair, and makeup. Social media exists to create connection, to teach people. It makes life easier. It creates community. It creates contact with alien encounters. So as we take a look at the word width, we want to know that width is the broad scheme of things. It has everything to do with seduction. Seduction being the tone of someone's voice. It's like the song, "There's a place in France where the naked ladies dance. There's a hole in the wall where the men can see it all," which can be misconstrued for kindness or niceness in that term of the word. There's different definitions when you take a look at night and night, however spelled very differently. Night has a K in front of it, and you know that's an armed soldier that's riding the horse, whereas night is going to bed at night. Simple, right? It's the same experience when you take a look at every word. There's actually jobs out there where they dissect the meaning of words. The word F-U-C-K is another one that you can derive conversation meanings around. Okay? Seduction drives a market to destruction, meaning you can only stay at surface level for so long before people who have knowledge, which is your depth, start to realize the seduction only brings toxicity. This is your knowledge. You can even sublist it as book information. You can list it as emotional information. So book information would be, what's the definition of the market? Most people who watch content only know a surface level of what the market is. They don't even know what it means, because they don't go Google it. So they run around acting as if they know what the market is when they don't even know the definition of the market. Then you have all the things in between, and then you have your emotional. You could even include in this category, you could include community knowledge. But we're not going to go into that right now because we haven't got that far yet. You want to take a look at your depth. The depth of your knowledge will then bring solid information for your reach. Now, your reach is your handshake. I have information to give you. I'm going to reach out to you through this video form. You're going to listen to the information. And I've struck a chord. Ding! That would be reach. Reach also has to do with width, which is your quantity of followers that you follow. How many people are liking, and it is a necessity to just not to have emotion attached to it, but as a gauge of how effective you are, your effectiveness to your community. And that's really all the numbers tell you if you're really up to good things. Most people at this time are looking for the surface level likes. They're not looking for the depth. However, they are looking for the depth. They just don't know it yet. When you look for the surface level likes, you're a pretender, you're a liar, and you're extremely insecure. Because it shows yourself, the people around you, and your community that you don't have confidence in the things that you have to teach people. So instead, you have the fancy background, the fancy outfit to occur as if you know what you're talking about, when all you do is skim the surface. And I'm going to tell you right now, skimming the surface as a follower gets you nowhere except for skimming the surface. And with where we're at now in society, those of you who are skimming the surface as new content creators will be going nowhere because they will not allow you to enter into the space. If you're 20 years old, you don't know jack squat about jack squat, and that's a fact. You've not been here on the planet long enough to teach and be a master at anything. You don't even reach mastering anything until you're at least 40 years old. And even at 40 years old, you are going to have an evolution of who you are throughout your lifetime, because we're always constantly growing and learning. My parents know 10 million times more than I do. They always have new generational perspective shifts. They have depth to their information. And they've always been right in my whole life, which is really kind of annoying. New generation doesn't like to pay attention to lessons from the older generation. They only like to skim the surface for content. And that's a fact. That's why we're in this mess. What does this do as a societal norm? It creates the downfall of the nation, a downfall of society. Because you didn't want to do your research. You didn't want to read a book that was interesting because you only wanted to get your nails done and your hair did and wear that fancy button-up shirt or go to a football game and cheer for a football team. Quality of content. There's a quality space of content that can be looked at as both depth and width. In the beginning, you're not, unless you're just like pure talent in quality to knowledge, and it takes a lot of time is what I'm telling you. In order to be in this business as an entrepreneur at this time, you must move fast. So unless you have a one-up with someone, which is what the wealthy have, then you must move quickly. So the quality of content can occur as spending 10 hours on a computer making one video. However, it doesn't give the connection to the audience. However, it looks cool. Later comes the more qualitative community effort as your business grows. But you definitely don't get the practice on being human when you operate from the I'm better than space first. It's a perspective for you to take a look at on where you're at. Because do you care what other people think about you? That is the question. Because I sure as heck don't. I care about getting the information out to you as quick and as fast as possible, especially since I've been studying for my whole entire life to generate this information as a gift to you. And just to let you know, with this information, you will never get the work until you do the work, which then drives your community to you constantly. They constantly come to you because you are reading the energy, you are cutting up the energy with them, they are doing the work, and they are progressing in their styles of life, and then now you've created educators. Because one person cannot do it all. However, they like you to think that one person has to do it all. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's how we get Kim Kardashian clothing lines. Okay, back to reach. Now, reach is how effective you are in the communication with quality mixed in. What kind of business are you operating? Am I getting value in what you're saying? Is it landing on me? Meaning, is the information that you're speaking making any sense to me? You might just be dumb. You might just not be in the right space at the right time to hear the information because of the way the planets are aligned. Notice how I threw that dumb comment in there. Because sometimes you are dumb. And I say it too. Well, that was dumb. However, you can't take that even as a fun, constructive criticism because you're too afraid of failure. Again, going back to caring what people think and looking for with. Thank you for the failure because now I learned a lesson and now I can expand and grow as a content creator and I can be more empowered and powerful, not rise in power, but more powerful and empowered for my community to show them making an error is okay. Because we are not perfect here on this planet. However, the seduction of the internet tells you that you have to be perfect. No, you just got to be nice to each other. Have respect and look for ahisma. And before you react to a conversation, you learn techniques and you learn to battle. The frequency. Frequency is both quantity and it's also feeling. So what do we have here? Depth and width. Frequency is how many times a day are you posting? How often are you posting and how many platforms are you posting on? Frequency is also what does it feel like for your information to be placed out into the internet circuits. That's a frequency, meaning if we're only getting seduction and seductress bullcrap, then it creates a vibration like this. Gross. Nasty. Oh, what? She's so attractive, but I feel so, That's exactly what's going on the internet at this time. And that's what they're counting on to make you feel less than. Because then they get to be the one that you run back to where they pretend to soothe you. However, when you're standing in the line with Gary Vaynerchuk and she's standing right over there, you feel so uncomfortable with sharing your authentic story with Gary. However, the last time you met him and she wasn't around, he was even different. And that's your example of frequency. The type of frequency that's creating in that moment is an impossible frequency to battle because she never leaves. And that's when the decisions need to be made whether you leave the organization. Because you can never control other people. However, you're in control of your own life. Now, are you part of a Rise in Power agency, which is what the little twit in the green outfit is up to? Or you're part of a Empower Yourself, which is what I'm up to. And that's how you can take a look at the difference between the two. Because with that one standing on the sidelines, you get fear-based society because she thrives off of it. And that is an example of depth versus width and an example of the battle. Because she has no balls and would never speak out loud because she knows I'd run her over with a tractor. Because she has no educational background. She's nothing but evil and she just wants your money, your self-esteem, and she just wants to get her eyebrows done. Consider that within your own organization because who a person is creates more people like them. So just utilizing her as an example of what the social media outlets are because one of her, there's like millions out there now of people like you supporting and following her. And it's all on a with-based society looking for the likes with surface behavior attached to someone else's music and living life on credit cards. So in order to get started in your journey, we'll utilize the ideas of the 12 and a half, is to find curiosity in everyday living. Well, you know what? I like to go hiking. I like to go walking. I like to spin on my spin bike. You find your topic. You know what? I like to put puzzles together. These are all real things that I like to do, by the way. You find your topic, and then you start getting creative around that topic. That is, if you're trying to do a social media, it's really actually a personal growth. It's personal growth, but it's also if you are in the future, because everyone's going to be doing social media work, you're evolving yourself in front of people, but you're also evolving the potential of a business. Because I'm going to tell you, when I first started working on the internet, I did not want to post. I did not want to do any of this work. I practiced on Facebook first, doing awkward posts with evil Knievel. I'm going to tell you right now, the worst people to do content for is your closest friends and family. They are the most judgmental. Who the hell do you think you are, they say. Who do you think you are? Well, I'm Cassandra. You know who I am. However, you're psycho. Because I don't know why you would be acting like that. Then I went into practicing lives with people I knew jumping on. Another awkward experience. The first one I ever did was in my kitchen well, maybe it wasn't my first one. I used to do a lot of essential oil education classes, as they claim that your information or you were going to be spread out throughout the internet, which never even ever happened. So I'm really not exactly sure who they're talking to when it comes to that. That, my friends, I have not figured out that aspect of it yet, but that's the part of the growth process. Once I manage it and figure it out, believe you me, I will be discussing it. Because I don't think it's fair for the same people to get all the essential oil business. It's just not right. The other thing to think about, or what else I did after that, was, and this is really when I started following Gary, Twitter accounts. I added all the different social media aspects, and then I would practice in different outlets to post with 0 followers. Because if you have 0 followers to me, or you have 10 million followers, it's the same thing. I even went onto people's pages who I intuitively knew were full of crap, and I say, that's not true. All I would say was, that's not true. You're a snake oil salesman. She sells essential oils. Yeah, I sell essential oils, and they are effective, and they're better than Big Pharma. She doesn't know what she's talking about, even though she has 13 years of experience in dental hygiene, and she's telling you that tongue rings are causing major concerns with bacteria entering to the heart. But she doesn't know what she's talking about. That's a normal reaction to somebody who's up to bigger things. And that becomes the battle of the information. The battle of working with people, because there's going to be some good ones mixed in there, and there's going to be bad ones mixed in there. And then your job as the social media educator is to battle them. I don't just sit back and smile all nicey nice. I don't care if you follow me or not. My intention is to gift the information and for the person on the other side to have growth. The way things work now is that there's a lot of bot activity that are purposely abusive. So we're being overran by bots. But hopefully in the future, that's going to transfer and transmit into more positive conversations, because the difference is the way people post on posts. It's not conversation, it's just plain attack. Attack, 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 attack. And that's what the Democratic Party created with the blue versus red and all the other things that we've been discussing. Once I dabbled in the advancement of still educating myself, and this is when I was reading the 150 books. I then moved on to Instagram because Gary was on Instagram, and I started working a lot with the Instagram stories. So Instagram stories delete after 24 hours. So no matter what I posted, I actually smoked a lot of weed at that time. And I would just post, and I would always tag Gary in it. And then he said to choose one, and so I chose him. Not to date. There's even a Twitter post that said, "You're safe." Because he would always show me his ring. And I'd be like, okay. I've been single and party scene for 10 years, and I know how to keep my boundaries. Especially to a coach and a teacher who I admired for their work. Because guess who I am? I'm a dental hygienist, which also means that I work with dentists who are married, and I have never crossed the line when it comes to my dentist. And that's a fact. Then I would constantly watch his content, which would then progress me forward into movement, into continuing to post. So he was very good at reading me and how I would email him sometime, DM, and I said, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm just quit. Because then I would also go to the LinkedIn account, tag him there, and then I would say, I don't want to do this anymore, where I had no followers. And this is where I would play it safe. So the evolution of your internet, it's an internet relationship, evolves personally. But there's key points in it to learn about who you are as a person, learning about watching the market or the people that are in your community or around communities that you follow, because it's always good to find someone else's community to see and mirror what kind of community that you want to create, but then create your own. So as you listen to me and I speak these things, you should see that there's a lot of multidimensional aspects to having a social media. This is as a business. However, you can experience it as a personal relationship too, where you can communicate to other people, and it just becomes something that you do on a daily, and you don't worry about your posting anymore. First, I started with pictures on the Instagram story. Then I went into short video. I used to watch my videos 1 time, 2 times, delete, or post. And then I got into the practice of literally taking 5 minutes to create a video and then just to post it. And sometimes I would have panic attacks, and sometimes I would cry when I would go live. However, nobody was live with me. I did cry once, I think. And then one time I fell asleep online. I think the only one in history that has fallen asleep on a live before. What was the other one? Oh, and then I dry heaved in a live once. Because that's how uncomfortable lives are. So you actually have to create multi-dimensional experience of yourselves in whatever form of content you're creating. So it's the pull and stretch of yourself, the pulling and the stretching of your self-awareness, which is why it's important to have a book like the 12 and a half attached to it's like your guideline, and you can just always go back, even if you have the book sitting on your coffee table, for you to look at it in the middle of a video and remind yourself that you need to have conviction, or that you need to have tenacity, or that you need to be optimistic, or whatever it may be when you're creating your content. because you're always going to get the jealous, especially if you're a female. People don't really realize that the female aspect of all of this is a lot more complicated than a man, because a man can look good, he can sound good, and women will flock to him. Whereas if a woman looks good, if she has educational background and she's out to really teach, the women come after her like wild animals, even the ones that are the future followers, because that's the jealousy aspect of it all. Even some of you that are watching right now are a bunch of a-holes. Talk about jealous of the fact that I'm with Gary Vaynerchuk as my husband. So when you stand in the line and he's wearing his wedding ring and I'm standing next to him, you're going to attempt to attack me, when his personal status has nothing to do with what we're doing here right now. However, you make it a priority because you want fame, status, and money, as in rise in power. However, I'm here to empower the people that deserve empowerment. And there are some of you here watching today in that realm too, but there's always a line of jealousy, because that's the new frequency that these social media models have created amongst the organizations of society. And what being jealous of me does to you, it disconnects a relationship that's possible. And it also gets in the way of your learning, which then creates a wedge between not only you and your husband, who you already have a husband. However, you are unable to generate new emotions with your husband, or he ain't your husband, which is all another aspect of what comes along when you start working on the internet. Consider it isn't him, consider it's you. Consider it's not him, consider it's you, and consider that you might need to move on. Instead of feeling like the victim, consider that you need to move on. Because working in the battle zone of women entrepreneur is a battle zone, and most of you are operating on surface level looks and likes. And I don't want to see that no more. Even in the old days when MLMs were a popular business on Facebook, at least they had education of a product. This whole branding thing of who you're going to be as a brand is fake. This would be attached to a brand, a person who's a speaker. I'm a human being, multidimensional, and that's my brand. I am not ever going to let anyone take that away from me. However, most of you have become sellouts because you want to get the width, not the depth. But I can assure you, if you focus on the depth, which is the knowledge to gift the other person on the other side, that you will find value in your own life. In your own life, which is ultimately why you're here on this planet, not to make a bank account. Because I'm not sure where 1 million followers stopped being enough. 500 people is a lot of followers. If you're sitting in a room of 500 people and they're all potential buyers for your product, let's even say that you're a dental business and you have 500 patients and they all need crowns, and a crown costs $1,000 and each one of them needs 10 crowns. Not to mention they all come in every 6 months to get their teeth cleaned. That's a lot of money. That's millions of dollars of money, and that would take you years to complete. And as you're completing those 500 people, 500 more people show up. And then all of a sudden you've hired a new dental hygienist, you've got more assistants, and then eventually you have to hire another doctor because your business has grown so much, because you built it off of humanity, from caring for your patients and knowing the right from the wrong and not giving unnecessary dental treatment. No matter what kind of business you are in, the internet is a functional source for expansion and growth, and whether it be personal, whether it be in the community of the office, or whether it be in your financial game and pocket, but that's the game of business. The fact that most dentists don't allow their hygienists to get online and post videos when it literally will produce a look-see. However, you're so toxic as a work environment, you aren't even allowed to speak your truth or come back to work and have a discussion around the video that was made the day before, or hey, make your own video. That's the battle. By allowing your staff to create videos on their own, you get to take a look at really who your person is. And sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad, but at least you got the truth instead of fluffing ass as that hygienist starts to abuse your patients. The millennial generation is ignorant because they have no educational background, and that is death. That is depth. And that's the most important aspect in life, is learning growth, is being part of community, and having self-awareness. And that's all I have to say on a 3-minute video now that I watched off of Gary's page, that I created new content off of on the fly. This morning I've already created 6 TikTok videos. I've created this 30-minute video, and I have a whole list of other videos that I could make all day long of valuable depth, knowledge, and education, because I know stuff, because I took the time to learn it, because I don't let the validation of other people stop me from producing content any longer. However, in the beginning, it was painful, but those are the things that you work through as you evolve your own personal training. You said you want to help people, then start helping them. Bring value to them. I wouldn't even pay attention to the numbers. I got 10 people following me on TikTok at this time. I prefer to stay beneath 500. However, I know more people are watching. I don't need your comments. I only need your questions. And that's all I have for y'all. If we were in a real seminar, then we'd probably do some readings or ask questions. We do some question and answers sections where I could literally tell you what's holding you back and who's holding you back, and open up some doorways for you to expand your businesses. However, I'm being suppressed globally by the internet, by your societal norms of what you want on the internet, by your social media influencing pack, also known as the clan. And that's what we are looking at this time. Anyway, okay. The Jets are going to win. Let me just say that a few times to the camera. The Jets will win. The Jets will win. Positive thinking, the Jets will win. So we're working with the football team, because what happens there's a couple of things I'm going to bring up when it comes to the football team. And this is still going to download. I can't really do more than a 30-minute video without it taking forever to download. The audience, the fans, make a difference for the players on the field. Meaning, if you went out and you got shit-faced last night and you show up all hungover in the morning, it's a concern for the performers. That's low vibration energy. Now, it's okay if a couple people in the audience do that, because we all make mistakes, but the positive attitude better exist. If everybody in the audience all went out and got shit-faced last night and then show up to the audience fan base on the team it's going to put a big dark shadow upon the Jets. As we progress through this game today, it's important to always uplift the energy as the fan base. They can do it, 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 they can do it. And then when they do score, you stay a chill, calm, congratulatory until the very end of the game. It's like really holding space for a violent community, because that team over there, the Patriots, is a violent community. This is the art of war. They are violent. They are malicious. They do weird things to intimidate the boys. And we've got some new players on the team. You got to remember, the whole is the goal, not one touchdown. You don't want to give up too soon. Let's say we are at 16-10. There's 1 minute on the scoreboard. This is where they pull in the deflated ball, because there's a secret ring of psychosis to where the Patriots are paid to win. The corruption in the NFL. You can still beat it because it's an actual physical game. Anything else on that? Let's see. Stay away from the coach. Let him focus on the game unless you have something that that is pressing, and that something weird's going to happen and you're going to see it. Watch the trial. Somebody needs to be watching the coaches on the other team and how they discuss what they like. It's really somebody who has to be multi-talented. So it's like the play plays, there's a timeout or something, and then they walk the player over to the guy and they talk. But you'll experience energy. You won't hear it, obviously. You'll watch it, you'll see it, and you'll know it. And then you just move on. Take notes. It's like hawks. Obviously, there's the people that are going to be focusing on the team, and then the outsiders are going to be focusing on other things. That's how you win a war. Anyway, I was digressing. The Jets are going to win. It's all a show. It's all a show to let y'all know. The Patriots is all a show. You all are going down today.